Paul O'Brien, winner of the Sports Series in 2024. It was really great to chat with Paul. We had a good laugh and a great chat just about adventure racing in 2024, how he found the racing and how he found the long season. He also does Hyrox, so with the two of them combined, it was a busy season for Paul. As a coach as well in the Hyrox, we had a chat about that, and it was really good just to get the lowdown on how Paul managed his year last year with it being such a busy year. So without further ado, let's get into it and enjoy the chat with Paul. Hi Paul, how are you?
Ryan, how are you? How you doing?
I'm good. Cold. It's cold out there, but I'm good.
Yes, it is. I'm literally about 10 centimeters away from the radiator here, so I'm not doing too bad.
Okay, so it's cold up in Leash as well, I gather.
Oh, crazy, yeah. And we all start to panic. But sure,
Yeah,
look, we got to get on with it. Got to get on
yeah,
with it. Try our best.
exactly. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on a super season. Um,
Thank you
it was
very
a
much. Thank you.
massive season for you, and great to
Yeah,
see it stuck there. Had been talking to Patrick Dundas as well earlier on there just before Christmas, and just great to hear the camaraderie between you, and the battles that go on, and the respect for the top athletes that's out there. It's really great to hear that. So
yeah,
massive.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. The lads are fantastic, and that's the thing about the adventure scene, that we all help each other. Like, and I watched Patrick's interview. It was brilliant. And as he said, like, there's just super athletes there that just, we push one another. And I think that's important, that nobody sort of like, sure, look, we'll just get through it. It's not about just getting through the race. It's like trying to better yourself, trying to be better than the last race and trying to get better splits, better times. Obviously, if there's like maybe a change amongst the race and that, whether it's going to be extended or brought back or the kayak is cancelled, that will throw a bit of spanner into the works. But other than that, yeah, I love the lads. Have so much respect for them. And even after the races, chatting away, we could be chatting there for an hour, 2 hours, like,
Yeah,
and no
yeah,
doubt the celebrations and odd a light
yeah.
refreshments. We're chatting about training as well, so it's all good. Like,
Yeah, there's always a great debrief at the end of the race, about
yeah,
different parts of the race and how you got on, or, I saw
yeah,
you take off there. Um,
yeah.
I suppose that's a great help too, just to be able to download the whole race as it happened with the guys as well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And again, touching base back on Patrick's interview, he was saying even on course, when you're like, one would be climbing, the other would be descending, we'd give each other a high five. Like,
Yeah,
do I've been like coming from a triathlon base and a background, almost clubs stick to clubs, and that was the way it was. And it's no disrespect to other clubs, but we sort of, I just feel with the adventure racing, it's one big club, even though you'll have Team West thrown in there and Ultimate Condition, etc. But we still all sort of, dig deep and we'll help each other. And the other side to it is you could be training phenomenal. You could be going like and stepping into the race, and just on that day, something can go wrong.
yeah,
It's not always going to be your day, and you have to have that, I suppose, that point of acceptance and to say to yourself, right, this is where I am. Didn't work for me today. Next race, and that's it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's just the way it is. And the lads will be there behind you every step, and they'll be like, look, don't worry about it. We know how good you are, and let's just push on.
yeah,
Let's try and work, and you'll work on your weakness, or perhaps like you'll try and say to yourself, right, do you know what, you just strip it back here, push there, blah blah blah. And that's the way it works. Like,
yeah,
it's different strokes, different folks. We've all got our weaknesses, we all got our strengths as well. Patrick, number one, again, on that bike, he just seems to be getting stronger and stronger, and he's the talk of the field. We're
mm.
all fully convinced that he does have a little engine on the bike somewhere. But definitely, yeah, yeah, we are. That's no joke. We're like, oh my god, what's going on here? Like, but he's just a machine, and he's
Yeah,
he's casual. We're all heavy grinding, like, and we're all heavy breathing, and he's just going by fucking whistling, like, excuse the French,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
he's phenomenal. But the
yeah,
same as well, the lads in the back there, Paul Feeney, Deck, and Bernard was missing this year. Dave Hickey took a year out as well. He might be back next year. These guys are fantastic. You
Yeah.
know, really, really top athletes. And again, the question is like, am I stepping up? Am I going up to the expert level? And I'm still up on ends on it. It's
Yeah.
just about time. I feel if
Yeah.
you go up to that endurance level, up with Seb and a few of the lads there, like
Mm.
Paul McKelvey as well, like or Dave McKelvey, should I say? He's up there and he's constantly saying to me, come on, step up,
Yeah.
step up."
Yeah.
I'd love to. I really, really would, and compete against them because again, it's something new. But I
Yeah.
just feel, as regards training, you got to put an extra 4 or 5 hours into your week,
Yeah.
and that's I'm trying to navigate that. I'm trying to find that as well, and I want to put it up against the lads in the sport again. Do
Yeah.
you know, the boys are brilliant, and I love that group as well. I also enjoy the endurance side of things, and we
Yeah.
come and we meet one another in different events outside the quest. You know, we have done, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I love it, absolutely love it, obsessed with it, really,
Yeah.
really enjoy it. Do you know?
I know, and it's great. It's great to see there's a bit of, there's a real good crew the last couple of years, and there's a bit of life there, and there's a bit of competition, friendly competition, and everything. So it's really good to see it. I suppose,
Yeah,
Paul, for those of the adventure racing crew that don't know that much about you, if we just touch a little bit on maybe how you got into adventure racing and your triathlon career prior to adventure racing. And obviously, we know you do a lot of the Hyrox. Maybe talk to that a little bit as well. If you kind of give us
yeah.
a synopsis of your period as triathlete and that.
Yeah, I suppose my first ever triathlon, having like being from Dublin, I was reared in Tala, and I suppose my first triathlon was 16, Dublin City Triathlon, and that was the start of it really. I was a member of Dunor Harriers, so I have that running background. To say it's my strongest point, I wouldn't say it. Like, you know, I would be a decent enough runner, not the best, not the worst. But when it comes to running, you've got to put the work in, you know. So that was always my background. Having after I moved to Tenerife, and I lived over there for 5 years. Worked over in a company called T3. It was like a big triathlon based camp, and I worked there. And yeah, came back to Ireland, then moved to Laois, and since living in Laois, I joined a club called Trilogy Triathlon Club. Very, very good, fantastic. I was the administrator there for about 6 years, so I was on the board as well. So I was heavily involved and really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. But as regards to triathlon, you can't miss anything. As like you can obviously hit your cycling, hit your running, but you've got to do the swimming as well. So and when the business took off, I just did not have the time to commit to it. That was it. My weekends were swallowed up because I look after the clubs in the off season, and then obviously the personal training took off, and I'm a class based gym, so it just my time was eaten up really. So I said to myself, right, I'll just stick to duathlons, and I'll do running, cycling. I'll get away with that, like I'll wing it. But then there was a friend of mine that was in my gym, Michael Delaney, and he said to me, "Have you ever tried adventure racing?" I said, "Adventure racing? I heard of it, like, but," I said, I've never tried it." And he said, "Yeah." He says, "There's an event called Knock Me Down, or Knock Me Down. It's on the Knock Me Down Mountains, like."
Yeah.
And this was in 2021. And I rocked up, had my shoes on, my cleats, didn't know what way to go about it, whether you wear the runners or whatnot. So, but I rocked up and I done the challenge route, and I ended up winning it by about 20 odd seconds. Um, Again, the transitions were shocking because the lads were gone, you know. But luckily, I had a strong finish in me, and yeah, since then it just took off. Started touching base into the quest and stuff like that. Prior to that, I was always with Trilogy, you know, with the club. I had a fantastic coach there, Cole Whelan, his name is, and he moved to Spain. He was with me for 5 years, but he actually made me the triathlete that I am today. To be honest with you, he gave me that belief. I was always just sort of coming in like eighth, ninth position, and I was content. I was happy. But he was like, "Paul, there's potential there," and he got me working different areas, like, and yeah, that's when it took off. Really, I suppose in my maybe when I turned 32, 33, I started really digging deep and starting
Mm.
to believe in myself. You know. But up to that, it's always just being taken part in these events, you know. But yeah, that's it. As regards to Hyrox, then, so I touched base and established the gym as a Hyrox gym, and yeah, Hyrox has taken over. It's
It
it's
has.
it's amazing.
It's
And it's building
massive.
and building. Yeah, yeah. Look, it's Marmite. Do you know? You love it or you hate it.
Yeah,
There's no escaping it. There's no getting out of that red zone. It's like from start to finish, you're just this Duracell bunny, and that's basically what it is. And it's working all areas, all dynamics of the body, and it tests you mentally more than physically, I would say,
yeah,
because you're trying to hold that pace for the kilometer repeats. And like everybody's worst nightmare, the famous burpees thrown into the mix, 80 meters of them. They're never easy.
yeah,
Uh, um, but yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So Hyrox for 2024 for me was fantastic. I made the World Championships in Chicago, so I'm off to Chicago in June. And I'm chasing that sub hour. That's my goal this year, to get under that hour. I've hit a 102 in Dublin and a 102 in Frankfurt. Two different courses. Again, the people amongst Hyrox, they're the exact same as those amongst the adventure scene as well.
yeah,
Really helpful. I'm going over to train. I'm staying with a friend of mine that I met through the event. Um, I went over to Frankfurt with a friend of mine from Derry. He's taken over Derry. He's the best up north. Sean, and we all just share, like, cut the costs and everything, cut the costs and accommodation. But yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely love it. So it's
yeah.
all ahead of us now, the adventure scene. So I'm looking forward to this year again.
Yeah, brilliant. So you're not gonna you're gonna take another year and stick in the same category and maybe jump up next year. Is that the
Yes, yeah,
thought?
maybe. I'm still on the fence about it. I'm still on the fence. I'm trying to, at the minute, I've a girl working for me. She's from Kilkenny. She was at TJ Reid's. So she's, giving me that time to perhaps maybe train a lot more in the mornings. So
Yes.
it's a matter of just maybe speaking to Siobhan and begging her maybe to do an extra few hours for me. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like I haven't made the full decision just yet. I said I'll go over to Turin, hit the
Hmm.
Hyrox, see how the energy is, and then make a decision then as we step in towards Kenmare, which is my favorite race on the calendar for Quest. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And you touched on it there, like with work and everything. You said you're 8 years open now, Paul. You're based in Leash, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
um, how do you find, I suppose, being a personal trainer and juggling that job with training, and also, I suppose, trying to you give so much energy as a personal trainer to everyone, to encourage them and all of that. How do you kind of conserve that for yourself to get your own energy and get out and train? Or are you just, consistent with your own training? And
I suppose it's structure, Lorraine. It's
yeah,
structure. Taking out your diary and putting down exactly what you're going to do. A lot of people just they go day by day, and they're like, "I'll do this today or I'll do that tomorrow." And whereas I feel if you're in control of it, nutrition for me plays a strong role. Really, really does for energy, your input and your output. And I feel if number one, if you're not eating enough,
mm,
you're running off fumes. And secondly, your sleep. Your sleep. It has improved, but I'm a lot better now. And it's just about the typical mobile phone at night time, the caffeine kicks, trying to knock them on the head after 1 o'clock. So just making little changes here and there. But as regards trying to motivate people, people give me energy.
yeah,
And I work off their energy. I run, as I said, I'm a class-based gym. I'm pretty much like Bernard Smith. He's based there in Meath. Fantastic setup, and a few of us from my gym went over to him there not so long ago, and we took part in a Hyrox event, and he's got a fantastic setup, really, really good ultimate conditioning. But he's the same. He's just constant. Do you know?
yeah,
Um, I don't have kids, whereas he does. So that I suppose that's in my favor as well as regards my training and my energy load. I'm guessing with a full family and a wife there in the background, it can be quite difficult and strenuous.
yeah,
Whereas I don't, so it's just I'm flying solo, so it's pretty good that end.
yeah,
But yeah, I feed off people's energy. that's how I work. The more that
Yeah.
they give me, the more that I'll produce myself. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's an obsession. It's a secret obsession. I love it. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever relax. I'll
Yeah.
never sit down. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. Even when I'm
Yeah.
trying to chill, like it's just it's difficult. I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched a film. It's sad, but it's
Yes.
true.
Well,
You
it's
know.
not. You have enough going on. You don't need to sit down and watch telly.
Yeah, yeah. People
You know.
often say to me, "When do you ever relax? When do you wind down?" It's like a
Yeah.
nice relaxing run. That
Yeah.
does it for me. Like, just
Yeah.
switch off.
Yeah.
Just switch off. That's
Yeah.
my time, I suppose. And people have their happy time, their happy place. Somebody
Mm.
else's chill might be the same as another's.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, just do what makes you happy. Whatever makes you smile every single day, do it.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, again, with the lads and with the girls on the adventure scene, they're brilliant.
Mm.
And I get excited, like going away to the likes of Kenmare for a weekend, because you get to touch base with people that would have the same interests,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's just like verbal diarrhea talking about it, constant, constant, constant. But we love it.
Yeah.
We love it,
And the thing is, you can talk about it. You're not
Yeah,
boring somebody because they're not into adventure racing.
yeah,
They're all
yeah,
excited about the same thing. So that's one of the
yeah,
advantages when it's almost like a gathering every month at one of the
yeah,
spots wherever it is, whether it's up in Fermanagh or in Killarney or wherever, that
yeah,
everyone gets the opportunity to have that verbal conversation and
yeah,
go on about
yeah,
X, Y, and Z, or did you try this or did you try that? Yeah, I
yeah,
totally agree with you. I think it's brilliant. I still, even now, I don't race as much, and I go down and I take more photos and try and do a bit of commentary and stuff for adventure
and
racing.
the video footage when everybody's heavy breathing.
Yeah,
You're doing great. Yeah, you're like, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Ryan. We're nearly spitting on you.
yeah, oh sure, it's great, and it's great to see that,
Yeah.
and to be able to have the chats afterwards. I mean, I love it. I think it's great to see everybody in action and just get out there among you and almost feel like I'm still doing a bit of racing in the
Ah,
background.
you are, of course. You're in that environment. We're always there, part of it. Some people
Yeah,
just will take that time to themselves to take a time out, and
yeah,
that's important too. Like, it
yeah, yeah,
really is. It almost recharges, the body, and then they'll step back into it. Bernard Smith, for one, like he's phenomenal. I had my eyes set on Bernard
mm,
and Dave Hickey.
yes,
They were my little right. I gotta catch them. They were
yes,
my markers, like,
yeah,
and that's the way it works. And
yeah,
then luckily enough, Bernard took a bit of a break this year,
yeah,
but I'm hoping he's back next year. I'm not entirely sure, but
yeah,
again, he's a busy man.
yeah,
He's really busy, and you've got to prioritize. He done one or two. I think he done Sea to Summit, and he just rocked up, and I think he finished fourth.
yeah,
He hadn't raced all year, and
yeah,
still has it in the tank.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know? So those
yeah.
those guys they'll never lose it.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, it's great to see Killian Heaney back as well. He'd been off for a
Killian,
while
yeah,
on the endurance side, so
yeah.
it was great.
We had a
Uh,
light refreshment together, myself and Killian Killarney.
yeah, yeah, it's great to see
Yeah,
him back. So,
yeah,
it's important too, I suppose, that people who step aside for whatever reason, whether it's family, health, or space, or work, or whatever the case is, that when
yeah,
it's always great just to see them come back on the course, and yeah, it kind of goes, oh, they're back, yay, you know,
yeah,
somebody else is there, so it's really good. That's brilliant. Um,
yeah.
is there anything, Paul, that stands out to you from the year of 2024 as, you know, like it's a long season. It's something that we talk about in a lot of the interviews. Like I do tend to say it's a long season. The triathlon season is fairly short, so those
Yeah,
that come over from triathlon, you have your training basically from early winter. You're starting your first race in March, your last race is in November. There's a long season there. I suppose out of that, are you choosy about what races you do during the season? How do you find it coming from, let's say, the triathlon side where the season would have been a bit shorter?
yeah. I suppose like I do. I like the Quest series. I really do. I've a lot of time for Ollie Keane, Sarah, the whole lot of them. I think, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, people don't realize the workload is phenomenal. And,
Yeah.
you know, having run my own business, I know what it's like. I
Yeah.
do know what it's like. People will just rock up, they'll do their race and they'll head off. But it's just it's everything, even in marketing as regards like, you know, trying to sell the event and stuff, because they're trying to keep people going. You
Yeah.
know, without us, there wouldn't be any adventure racing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important that they keep that overload, and they keep the pressure on, and constantly like feeding through Insta or through social media, like.
Yeah.
um but yeah, it is a long season. It is. So people would often say, like, when is your peak? Do you know, you'll have your orientation, your pre-workout cycle, and then your
Yeah.
peak. But it just seems to be your peak is extended.
Mm.
Do you know, but recovery, it's as equally as important, and I'll emphasize that with training, like your flexibility sessions. Do you know, your mindset control sessions, everything comes on board. So
Mm.
having, like, with the adventure racing being that sort of, you know, longer period, structure. So you'll hit a race, and again, like Kenmare and Glendalough are not that far apart. There's only
Yeah.
a few weeks in it. So I suppose you can really put the work between like January, February, and then stepping into March, hit the March, April, and then sort not completely deload, but just taper back a small bit. And
Yes.
yeah, you could throw one or two races into the mix there, definitely. But for me, it's non-stop. In between the adventure racing, it's the Hyrox is thrown in.
Yeah.
So from now up until the summer, I think of like 7 or 8 different races to take part in. And
Okay.
you don't want to be going into them like feeling 60, 70%. You want to be at your best,
Yeah.
you know. So it is hard. It is hard. It's not impossible, but I suppose looking after yourself behind the scenes, that is important. So we can't, a lot of people would be convinced that, oh, you're great, you run like 100 kilometers a week, you can eat what you want, you
Mm.
know, you can drink what you want, you won't put on a pound.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that. We can't, unfortunately, because we don't want to be getting a stitch on course, or we don't want to feel sluggish and heavy breathing because our nutrition's out of control.
Yeah.
So I feel behind the scenes, it's important to try and
Yeah.
keep that longevity, to try and keep that endurance in the body,
Yeah.
and just keep everything under control.
Yeah. And what's a recovery session like for you, Paul, when you're finished a race? Like, do you go into the boots? Do you get massage? Do any of that? Do you cold plunge?
I do foam roll, and I have the compression boots. Yeah, I have the air compression boots. They're always on hand, funny, which is fantastic at the events as well.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. Just it's just to make sure that we don't, you know, the lactic doesn't build up. You're trying to keep like the body oxidized. You're trying to keep the blood flowing, and just again, that all goes back on your level of training that you're putting in as well.
Yeah.
Do you know that you're doing your zone 2, zone 3 boring sessions, but you've got to have that high
Yeah.
aerobic capacity as well,
Yeah.
included into your anaerobic. So it is important that, yeah, flexibility for me is massive. Your range of motion, and again, 24 for me was bigger because of the Hyrox, because you're
Yes.
doing a lot of resistance work. So the likes of the wall balls, you're coming down into that deep squat position, the sandbag lunges, and they're
Yeah.
heavy. They're heavy, do you know? So like, you've got to do it. You've no choice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll have hip issues or knee issues, and so it is important. And I'm not getting any younger. I'm turning 40 this year, so
Yeah. Ah,
which the
you're
lads
still
might be
only a
lads
baby.
might be delighted. So I'll be in the 40 category. I'm delighted. I just thought about that actually.
There's
So
no
we have a
fear
chance
yet.
of the age category. I'm not sure who's in that actually. I think Declan's there, isn't he?
Uh, could be. I'd have to double check now. I'm not sure. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I suppose what was the standout then for 2024 for you? Like what race stood out, or like whether it was your own performance or whatever? Was there anything
Race
in
of the
particular that
season.
kind of stood out for you?
Race of the season. I would say Loch Derg for me. Loch
Mm.
Derg. It was actually emotional because the last time they're using the pontoon, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
coming across. That was actually my first time taking part in Loch Derg. I'd not done it. I missed it 3 years before. I'd
yeah.
always something going on.
It's a nice little
So, but
punchy one, like, isn't it?
It's great. It's a good. It's
Yeah,
testing. Like
yeah,
you're straight into the red zone on that cycle, the first cycle, like,
yeah,
and that sort of straight away separates the boys from the men,
yeah,
immediately, and it's once you're in that position, then, and a lot of people, like, I see it so many times. You'll see new faces rocking up from the triathlon scene. Now, I would have known them, having raced for Triathlon Ireland, so I would have touched base and I'd know a few, but some I don't, and they
yeah,
step in, and all of a sudden they're gone like, they're gone like gazelles, and you nearly know that they're not going to last.
yeah,
I feel with adventure racing, like, even though the sport route, and the lads will give out to me over this saying the sport's not faster than the expert. It is. It is.
yeah,
I feel it is. I
mm,
feel with the expert you could just strip back a small bit in sections. But the sport route, like, having been that little bit faster, you still have to pace yourself. You
mm,
still have to be careful,
mm-hmm,
and be in control of the race. Whereas a
mm,
lot of, these rookies that will come up, and they're like coming from maybe off the triathlon scene, and maybe perhaps stepping into adventure racing for the foreseeable. It's a learning curve,
yeah,
and I learn every single race. I still learn,
yeah,
you know, and even because you're allowed to, it's draft legal in adventure racing. Take your little
mm,
time, slot
yeah,
in behind somebody, and then, but do the work as well for them.
yeah, yeah,
We nearly know in amongst that race, we all help each other, and we all take our little splits here and there, like, and
yeah,
we'll drag each other along. But
mm-hmm,
you got to be clever, box clever about it as well.
yeah, exactly.
And everything is tactical. It's all tactics on the bike, particularly.
Yeah,
So you got to watch people's moves and stuff. But yeah, by far, Lough for me, coming across that pontoon was just amazing. I'll never
yeah,
forget that memory. It's just, well, you nearly have it, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and it was neck and neck between myself and Patrick,
yeah,
as it has been through the whole year.
yeah,
And again, he's phenomenal, and he's getting better and better and better. I think
yeah,
this year will be his year.
mm-hmm,
I really do. Um, Not saying that, like, I'm not gonna put it up against him, but I just
of
feel,
course. Yeah,
for an athlete, he deserves it. He
yeah,
really does deserve the national series. He's been biting at the cherry for a long time now. So I think if he continues and perhaps even betters himself, I think he's done a sports camp as well. He done a training camp not so long ago. I've seen him on social media, so he's been away. He
mm-hmm,
puts the work in. He
yeah,
really, really does.
yeah,
As we all do. We all
yeah,
do. But I just think, as regards somebody that would deserve the national title, I feel Patrick definitely
yeah,
deserves it.
yeah.
You know, he's
Well,
a
I
top
look
athlete.
forward to watching you fight it out again
Oh
in
yeah, yeah.
2025.
Oh, we
Um,
won't let him have a handy, Lorraine. Jesus, no. I'll have to put him on. Not a chance. No.
yeah, absolutely. No, the competitive spirit is there among y'all, but in such a
Yeah.
friendly way. It's really nice to see. It really is. I suppose just a couple of other things as well, Paul. So, what would be your top three gear that you wouldn't be without?
Gear, as in, like, what would I use in the race, or
Yeah, what
tips,
you
like?
or yeah, like whether it's race or whether it's the case of kind of coming up to a race, is there any particular gear that you wouldn't be without?
Um, you're talking like runners as such, like, and training gear, or are you
Yeah,
talking
or
tips?
yeah, pre, post, during the race, whatever gear that
Yeah. So
makes
my
the
top
race
tip,
work well for you.
definitely, which a lot of people don't do, is the warm up phase. And I
Hmm.
see it so many times at races. People will rock up and they'll go for a run for like 3 or 4 minutes.
Mm,
So my top tip would be to get their heart rate into a race pace. So basically going off and hitting your maybe 100 to 150 meter strides, and really preparing the body for what it's going to go under.
yeah,
100% get your full stretches in, pre-stretch. Make sure you don't leave yourself limbering at the start and feeling stiff at the very, very beginning. That'd be definitely my number one. Number two is obviously have that emergency gel throughout. I very rarely use it, and test it in your training. A
Mm.
lot of people might go into these events and they'll go into the stores and they'll go, oh look, a carbohydrate gel, I'll try this, whereas their body hasn't adapted to it. So whatever you're going to use in the race, use in training before the race. And
Yeah.
then the last one, I always have like a little sort of charm. So my little medal is actually I have it glued onto my bike, and I wouldn't be without it. My nanny, she's 97. She's coming 98 this year, and she's my number one supporter. So it's Saint Christopher. So
Yes.
it's to keep me protected.
Yeah.
So that's my little thing. I wouldn't be without it.
Yeah.
So I have that on my bike, and
That's
that's.
lovely.
But definitely the top two tips for those that are stepping into any racing is get a long warm up in, a nice pre stretch. Get there really, really early. Don't rock up if you're taking off at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Be there an hour, if not longer, beforehand. And just keep yourself warm. Keep moving. Keep stretching. It's ballistic stretching, stretching as you're running, and
Yeah.
then fueling. Fueling's important. But I generally say to people, if you're fuel coming up to the race, so building up your glycogen stores, so all your carbohydrates, etc. So
Yeah.
just watch that end. So nutrition, yeah, high factor in it,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's so many tips. My old coach used to say to me, Paul, you'll get 101 tips from people, but take 3 of them and run with them,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
you can go on overload. Your whole mindset is like, oh, geez, I got to do this, I got to do that,
Yeah.
and as I say to people, what works for somebody might not work for somebody else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever you feel works for you, run with it,
Yeah, because
and
we are all
that's
different, like what
absolutely,
training works for you would not necessarily work for somebody else. What will work for a man may not necessarily work for a female, so
yeah,
yeah, completely, completely. You have to kind of find your own way. And I suppose if you're working with
yeah.
a personal trainer, then between the two of you find what works for that person.
Yeah, absolutely. I work like with males and females, and again, different strengths. And a
Yeah,
lot of people, and we're at that typical time of the year now. It's January, so people want to get going. It's a new year. It's a fresh start for them, and you'll see all these famous gym gurus. And what'll happen is they'll come into January and they go, right, that's it, I'm killing it. They've
yeah,
had a feed of drink, they've had a feed of food over Christmas. They didn't particularly put the 10 pounds on over Christmas week. It was from the 1st of December when the
yeah,
chocolates come out and they started just binging. We eat with our eyes. So
yeah,
we might particularly want it. We just step into a room and it could be a friend's house or whatnot and they're picking. But what happens is they step into January and they go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
yes,
And all they're doing is just putting themselves under complete depletion. And I
yeah,
say to them, commit to 3 days. Go
mm,
into them sessions itching. So commit
yeah,
to a Monday, a Wednesday, and maybe a Saturday or Sunday.
yeah,
And that way you can build. And that way you feel confident coming into the sessions. So that'd be another tip I'd say to people is
yeah,
that, sometimes less is more
yeah,
when you're trying to build strength and build confidence, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
That's what I would say to people, and just try to better yourself, be a better version of yourself. Stop
yeah,
looking at other people. Even though we
yeah,
do it in the race scene, I'll see what the lads are hitting, their splits and stuff, but
mm,
I'm more focused on my splits.
yeah, yeah,
You know, I will start to compare and go, well, geez, I was a minute there behind or I was a minute ahead, but I
mm,
still want to better myself.
yeah.
And if you
That's
just
homework.
even by seconds,
Yeah,
seconds,
yeah.
you know,
I
but
mean,
that'd be my advice now.
yeah. I mean that's homework because you want to improve yourself. Or, you're not necessarily at the end of the day. We can only beat our own times. It's not necessarily about going out there beating anybody else. Anything after that is a bonus for sure.
Yeah,
But
100%,
yeah,
100%.
at the end of the
You know,
day, it's about our time and how we do rather than, and whatever else comes after that is brilliant. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
But then the likes of yourselves and Barry and Park and that are there, that adds to it.
yeah,
That
yeah,
adds to the racing. It's
yeah,
fantastic, and people along the sideline, the support. It just it just makes it one big happy family.
Yeah.
Really, really does. And without you guys, it would just be like just this event in a park or an event on a mountain. It just adds to the atmosphere, and it's good camaraderie, and it's just, yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
everything about it. And
Oh,
I'm
thank.
always trying to push people, always
Yeah.
trying to push people in my gym. Quest,
Yeah.
quest, quest, quest. I run
Yeah.
quest programs,
Yes.
and I say to them, and I know there's different events and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I just love the quest series because you're traveling all areas of Ireland as well. You're hitting different areas, and
Yeah.
I do really enjoy it. I do
Yeah.
really enjoy it. I have touched base with different adventure races as well. I still haven't done a lot up north. I haven't done war.
Yes.
Um, I haven't done Fermanagh either. So I'm gonna. I said I will. I
Yeah.
will do it, but again, it's time.
Yeah.
It's just time.
Yeah. You like
You know.
Fermanagh. That's another little punchy one.
I know. I know. The lad said it to me. It would definitely suit me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a nice punchy one. Very well
Yeah.
run, and they have great volunteers. They're
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, really, really good.
Knock
Be
Me
very,
Down, or not Knock Me Down. Race to Glory.
yes.
That was tough.
Yeah. They're all punchy. Like you go
Yeah.
like I think a lot of people came to the one in Lough thinking, oh, it's kind of nearly the center. There's not going to be many hills there, but there's
Yeah.
there's a nice view. So they're all kind of punchy, like,
Oh my God. Yeah. People don't realize, they're like, oh yeah, I'm only leaving this town. Kenmare, I'm only leaving here. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good luck.
I always try to, and that's what I love as well. I'm trying to motivate people and get them, like, anytime if I'm descending coming down, I'll have to crack with people. I say, come on, change that walk into a run.
Mm,
And they listen to you. They
mm,
do,
mm.
because they be walking and they be hands on the knees. And I just like to say to people, I say, come on, don't be creating bad habits.
Yeah,
Just get lugging. This is a race. This is a challenge.
yeah,
Challenge
yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
Like, see what it's like. Even hit it like segments of maybe 30-second splits. Do 30
yeah,
seconds run, 20
yeah,
seconds walk. I can
yeah,
guarantee you'll get up that mountain a lot quicker.
yeah,
And they do. And I'll say that to a lot of my clients that will touch on base on the adventure program. And I'll say to them, I'll say, look, I'm not expecting you to run up that mountain for 10 minutes continuous, but if you can do more running than walking, you're winning. So
yeah.
even if you've done 20 seconds run, 10 seconds walk, and hit that, and they
You
do.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Paul. I mean, I used to
Yeah.
do endurance races. That's kind of what I used to do. And you'd be going up Mangerton and you'd be there going, right, 10 seconds off, 10 seconds off, 10
Yeah.
seconds, just to keep, and it'll become rhythmic, like you get into a
Yeah.
rhythm of run and break. But it
Yeah.
makes a massive difference. You're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
you'll feel accomplished,
yeah,
because you're committed to that.
yeah,
You'll be saying to yourself, oh, that's brilliant. I can run at
yeah,
this incline. And some of them could be like, you're talking 11, 12% gradients there
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
people do struggle to walk up them, but you've tiptoed up them like at a little sort of running pace.
yeah,
And that's what I find. I'll always start to say to people as well, go to the unknown, you know, um, just go to that dark place, really test yourself mentally,
yeah,
because you want to come down and come across that finishing line saying to yourself, I can't believe I've done that,
yeah, yeah,
and getting that medal at the end for
yeah.
any adventure race. And I love that side to it. Like, obviously we'll have our crew amongst ourselves having our own little battle. But I'll hang around and we debrief with the lads. But then I watch and I look at like husbands and wives crossing the line, kids crossing with them. You know, these have never done an adventure race in their life. This is
Mm,
phenomenal for them to
yeah,
finish
yeah,
this event, this grueling event. It's just a dream come true for a lot of people. And I see that side and the emotions on their face. And
yeah,
and that's the side I love, with the community, with that adventure racing, that they all get the hugs from people.
yeah,
They'll get advice, and just the level of respect
yeah,
that we have for one another is fantastic. Whether you're the best athlete in the world or whether you've just bounced into it, whether you're just stepping into the scene,
yeah,
everybody has their own, ability, and
yeah,
everybody's there to help each other. And
Yeah.
that's why I stepped into adventure racing, and that's why it'll be there for for the foreseeable. I won't ever stop. People
Yeah.
thought this year, because I had a good year in the Hyrox, are you going to choose Hyrox?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm an endurance athlete. I love
Yeah.
my running. I love my cycling. I love
Mm.
my kayaking. I love that competitive streak.
Yeah.
So definitely not. Like, adventure racing for me is number one.
Yes.
Hyrox racing would be number two always.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's amazing, I suppose, when you see, as you point out there, you see people crossing the line. It kind of gives you a warming of the heart, really. It's emotional,
Yeah.
like when you see it all happening in front of you. And I think people don't see too much of that in other sports so much,
No, no,
that
no.
emotion isn't necessarily there. Um, Paul, is there anything that you'd like to cover that I haven't brought up, or is there anything that you'd like to mention that I haven't kind of come across on
No,
the
I
call today?
think that's all areas covered. It just, again, those that are stepping into the adventure scene and have never took part, don't think about it. Just do it. Set
Yeah,
yourself that goal. Everybody steps into, like, a new year with a goal of getting fit,
yes,
and that's fine. But I'll always emphasize, if you pick an event, whether it's a 5K run or a 10K or whatnot, at least you're training for something.
yeah,
The pressure will be applied,
yeah,
and everybody's there to help. Everybody, and even the other side to the sport is just for their mental health.
hmm,
I see it. I work in the industry. There's too many people out there suffering. So with events like the adventure racing and triathlons and Hyrox and stuff, they're all, you know, they're a medication in themselves,
yeah.
these events. And
Green
I
prescription.
think if we can try and push that, that's what I'm trying to push this year. I think even touching base with suicide rate around the Midlands is fairly high, and it
Yeah,
seems to be getting younger and younger. So my goal this year is to step into schools and colleges and have talks with these kids, and it's all down to social media. It's all down to phones, tablets,
yeah,
consoles. Not saying that I never played the PlayStation ever before, but it was more outdoor than indoor.
yeah,
And
yeah,
just even with schools, kids getting bullied and stuff like that, it doesn't end in the school because it goes home and they're on the phone,
yeah,
and it's constant on the phone, whether they have the headsets on. So what I say is, if we can try and keep pushing sport into this world, events into this world, we're doing it good for people,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
100%, 100%, 100%. I
But yeah,
totally get you, Paul. Yeah.
you
Um,
know,
I'd like to first of all just take the opportunity again to say a massive congratulations from all the adventure racing team on your win this year.
thank you so
May you
much.
have
Thanks, Lorraine.
more, and best of
And
luck
thank
for
you.
this year. You know, we
Yeah,
really
yeah,
look forward to seeing you all out there racing again in 2025. And yeah, look forward to celebrating the year with you.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time on the call. I know your time is precious.
Not at
You're a
all.
busy man between the Hyrox and training and everything. So really appreciate the fact that you hopped on the call today. And I'll definitely catch up with you again and
Yes,
have a chat over the season. And I'll catch you out in a race anyway, for sure.
100%. Lorraine, thanks so much for your time, and thank you.
Okay. Thanks a million, Paul.
Thanks a million. Talk to you again. Thanks, Lorraine. Cheers.